here with Todd Duboef of Top Rank Boxing. First off, we're here for Nononito Donaire's Media Day. What are your thoughts on his upcoming fight with Wilfredo Vasquez Jr.?
I think this hopefully will be the style that'll give him a Montiel type of performance where he shines, where somebody's going to put pressure on him and he's going to allow his speed and power to show. And I think we're all looking forward to getting that, those types of performances behind him. He's got a real tough fight. Vasquez is bigger than he's ever fought, but he's aggressive, and he really was winning the RC fight. He was a round away from winning that fight. So this is going to be a real barometer test to see how Nonito does with Vasquez and how he would do with RC in the future.
And in the main event, you have Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fighting Marco Antonio Rubio, who pretty much everyone agrees is going to be the toughest fight of his career. I've talked to some other people with Top Rank. They're a little bit nervous about that fight. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, listen, we've always said that Junior is in the process of becoming a fighter. He's developing, and this is the next step. I think that Junior is going to have to be patient. He's going to have to show some maturity. Rubio is strong. He is a cagey veteran. He's got a lot of rounds under his belt. And, Junior's going to have to be able to go 12 hard rounds and have the sustainability. That's what we haven't seen, really. He did a good performance with Zivic, which was a tough fight. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he does going forward.
You mentioned the Vasquez fight. Everything that I heard coming out of Puerto Rico is that he does plan to bring pressure. Was that part of the thinking when you guys created this fight to, kind of make an exciting fight, especially coming off of the Narvaez fight?
We're always trying to, right? We're always trying to make exciting fights. I have no interest in making a bad fight, right? But the biggest problem is Navarez never showed any stink in his fighting ability before. I thought I was going to get an exciting fight there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when Clottey didn't throw against, Manny or Mosley. I never would have seen this. So we try to narrow the probability gap, right? I'm not putting Nonito in with a southpaw that's going to backtrack and not engage. He's a really skilled fighter, and I think he shines when he's able to throw. And when people are, when opponents are aggressive and they throw, they're obviously susceptible. And the great ones do the best with that. And when they don't throw it all and they put it up in a cage, there's not much you can do with it.
So that brings me to my next question. Rigondeaux, he's a guy you guys have also, same way. Some people are already kind of talking about that fight. Style-wise, is that a fight you think that can be made, and what do you think about it?
I think Rigondeaux is a very good, very gifted athletic fighter, incredible athletic fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I think his ability and his marketability haven't met the same level, right?
Okay.
So I want to start working on that so I can move the marketability up, right?
Because
then those fights become more palatable for the consumers. Nonito, RC, those are easy ones, right? That they're developed, people know them, they have embedded fan bases, and I think that's the next step for Rigondeaux.
So what kind of opponents and time frame do you think for Rigondeaux? What kind of opponents does he need to start bringing that marketability?
I actually, I haven't sat down with their team yet and talked to it from my office and see where they want to go. Obviously they want to, as always happens, a fighter fights and they say, give me the best, right? And they want the most money. I'd love to do it, but I got to make it compelling for both sides, right? So I think that we'll sit down and come up with a strategy that puts him, in the forefront of his building a fan base and building his popularity here, so that a fight down the road would be, wanted by all fans.
You guys have a very exciting fight for us Puerto Rican fans with Juanma. He has a very tough fight. He has a rematch. What do you think about that fight? What do you think Juanma can do differently to, beat Salido this time?
I think he's got to do everything differently. Not what can you do differently. Whatever you did last fight, throw that away, right? So let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I think if I was looking at it from the perspective of his performance, I would say that he took him lightly, and he thought he was, he saw the fight with Gamboa. I don't think Juanma had a lot of respect for him,
right?
And Juanma obviously is the more skilled fighter, but he, didn't use his skills and tried to just get him out.
Right.
And the one thing we know is Salido is durable, he's strong, and he can punch, and he can get to you. And Juanma, we all know that, hey, his chin gets tested, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to be able to have a sustainable 12-round fight, Gamboa-esque style, where he can use his boxing abilities and all abilities, to win the rounds and to win the fight. If he wants to engage with him, he's going to be in for a long night.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
And obviously the thing with Manny and Floyd, it's not going to happen in May.
I'm not talking about it.
Is there any, forget that, but is there any chance that you guys could just talk about like setting up a fight in November and let them fight interim fights? I mean, would that be a...
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. I mean, I just, I mean, this is like, this has been 2 years, right? I mean, it's like enough already, It's just a difficult dynamic. Obviously, we want to do this thing, but it's getting exhausting.
And if Manny doesn't fight against Cotto, who would you like to see Cotto fight? Because there's been reports that he might be the front runner to fight Mayweather in May now.
Right.
Who would you guys? Obviously, that's not the fight you'd want him to fight. Who would you guys like to see?
No, I mean, listen, we met with Miguel and his team, and we're talking to them, and we'll sit down as things start to unfold, and I think I don't know exactly the strategies because obviously both Manny and Floyd, if one's in May and one's in June, they got to lock up with who they're locking up with, and then after that we'll decide where everybody goes.
Is that kind of what you're waiting for? Is just for their both?
No, I mean both of them got to both of those guys got to make their matches.
And if Chavez beats Rubio, is that a real viability for Cotto in the summer?
I think it is. I mean, I think that fight's been talked about, and it's a fight that Junior wants. I think Miguel's interested in the fight, and I think we could talk about that. We talked to him about it.
Another fight that's being discussed with your fighters is Brandon Rios Gamboa. What chances is that of happening?
I was waiting to see you guys today to see what you thought of the fight.
Oh, I think it's a great fight.
Mandalay Bay?
I wasn't making the match until I talked to you guys. Right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Should
We're
we make the
all
match?
for you.
All right,
I think that's one of the best fights that can be made, personally.
Thank you.
Do you think it could be the next one? Are you going to match them up separate to build up to it, or what are the thoughts on that one?
Right now, I'm looking to do the two of them. I'm hoping to do the two of them April 14th against each other.
Ooh.
Go right into it.
Perfect.
And would there be a co-feature, or would that just be?
I'm discussing options with the HBO and everybody. I really want to bring Alvarado back. I think to have him in that style because he's that same like Brandon Rios, get hit with everything, take you out type of style.
Right.
I think that would be an incredible co-featured fight, in a really good fight. And I think those are the types of, that's where we're heading towards. These are the next generation of guys that are coming out. I mean, I compare, when you talk about Gamboa and Rios, it reminds me of Corrales and Mayweather. Two young guys at that point who's going to blossom. And remember, Corrales had a great career after he lost to Mayweather. It wasn't like it was over, but it's one of those crossroads fights.
Definitely.
And so my objective is to try to make that fight. I think it'd be great.
And there's been talk about Lamont Peterson and Juan Manuel Marquez. Is Peterson back with you guys now, or is that just being talked about?
I think it's just being talked about.
Okay, but is that a fight you guys would like to see?
Listen, nothing can be done until when you talk about Peterson, Marquez, Cotto, Canelo, all these guys, and none of these fights can be done until we see what Mayweather and Pacquiao do.
Right.
So I can talk about all these mystery matches, right? But the truth is until people go get married, I'm not going to find who's available, right? I mean, that's the truth. No one's, everyone's dating right now, and no one's locking the knot.
Any final thoughts for the fans out there?
No, I think this 2012 is going to be a great year, and we got a lot of exciting stuff coming for you.
And for the Latino fans that are very excited about some of these fights you discussed, message for them?
Listen, all I would say is, the sport of boxing and the Hispanic culture is just, we're doing incredible. And I think that it's going to keep coming, and I think I appreciate all of their support, and I think they're going to see incredible fights coming forward.
All right, thank you.
Man, you got it.